Sabres Live is presented by Seneca Resorts and Casinos. Nothing else comes close.
Happy Friday, Sabres Live, wrapping up a week with Marty Baron and Brian Duff, and we are thrilled to get things started this day with recently signed by the Sabres netminder Eric Comrie. Eric, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Congratulations on the wedding. How's are we still in the honeymoon phase? Can we call it that?
I think she's a little bit mad at me because we really didn't get a honeymoon. I went to Kelowna to train with my goalie coach, and I called it a honeymoon, except I was working out and skating from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I don't think she was really happy with me.
We talked about that the other day. Talked about that the other day. How you said your happiest place is being at the rink, and we figured, how does that go along with your new bride to say, hey, my happiest place is at the rink?
Yeah. I'm already in the doghouse. Let's put it that way. I've already got the marriage on the wrong foot, I guess.
Now, so give us a sense of the history in Kelowna for you training, like who and why, but also, as importantly, the background on your wife and how long you've known each other, and now the journey you're on together.
So Kelowna, I've been going there for a while. It was hard with COVID for the last little while. I have my trainer out there and my goalie coach I work with a lot, Lyle Mass and Adam Francilia. So I went up there to see them and just get some basics touched on. It's been unfortunate with COVID. I mean, with the lack of travel and stuff, I haven't been able to see them as much. So it's been a little bit tougher with that sense. But it was great to touch up with them and just go over some stuff and really get back to some basics and really make sure that all my structure and all my body was in the right spot. And yeah, that was great. And then my wife and I have known each other for almost 9 years and been together for that long. So she knows what she's getting. She knows that hockey is a major priority in my life, and she understands that I'm going to do everything I can to be the best I can. And she fully supports me and understands that.
How do you balance having, because this is not something we would do a lot back even 20 years, where we had our personal goalie coaches at home and then we would go to a team and then work with a team's goalie coach. So how do you balance that, having worked with Lyle? And I know Lyle, he's one of the best. I would work with Lyle, but also work with your team's goalie coach, and now it would be Mike Bills in Buffalo. How do you balance that and the communication? Does that stay open between everybody?
100%. I think it's a really important thing to stay open and stay very open dialogue and make sure that we're always communicating, make sure that we're doing the right stuff, and make sure that we're working together towards a common goal. And the main goal is just to be the best you can and perform the best in the highest ability you can. And I think I'm doing everything possible to achieve that. And that's what I kind of live on. And I try and strive for just making sure that I'm taking care of all my daily basics to make sure that I can be at the top level when the time comes be. And I think for myself, I know that Lyle and I have a very good relationship. We've worked together for a long time, and I'm really excited to get to know Mike, and I understand how good of a goalie coach he is and how much he's going to bring to my game. And I think we can keep elevating it to the next level.
Eric, how would you describe the Comries as a hockey family?
Very, very, very competitive. You don't want to come here and compete against us. Let's put it that way. I've never seen people have more fights playing tennis and more fights just having fun and mess around outside and stuff like that than our family, because we really are competitive and we want to win no matter what it is. I mean, I remember being 5 years old. This is kind of where I started playing goalie, and my brother Paul we were playing street hockey, and he goes and shoots. He tells me, you'll never stop me your whole life. You'll never make a save on me your whole life. And sure enough, I stopped him one time and I get paraded around the room. So that's the day I became a goalie. So I knew that right then and there, I was the happiest. Like, it's still probably one of the peaks of my career right there, stopping my brother Paul just because he told me he never would. And it was, he really meant it. Because, every single time, they never took it easy on me. They tried to score me every single time. And still to this day, they're really, really competitive with me. And I think that's why we have such a good relationship.
Well, we were talking about your other brother, Mike Comrie, that is. I got to play with him at the World Championship and against him for many years. But did he mention that he was actually on the ice in that infamous Ottawa-Buffalo brawl? He was with Jason Spezza and Danny Heatley on the ice when the gloves went flying and, whatever happened after that. So what did he have to say about that moment and the building and the fans and the buzz that night?
Oh, he loved it. He actually had a lot of good battles with Ottawa against Buffalo. They were in the playoffs there. They really battled out there. He was in the cup run with Ottawa. I know Buffalo had a really good team that year. Ryan Miller was unbelievable that season, and that was a really good year. I remember they had a bunch of good seasons. He said the building was incredible there. But that night with the fight, Mike actually, I know he's a smaller guy, but he was pretty feisty. He got into a lot of fights in his career. I think by the end of it, he he was fighting more than he was actually scoring by the end of his career. And he was scoring a lot when he was younger. And then by the end of it, he became a bit of a tough guy. And his size was kind of surprising. And he didn't mind getting into he was tough.
How would you say your dad policed these intense rivalries among siblings? Now, granted, there's a pretty significant age gap here, right, with you and your siblings. How would you say he oversaw all of that and maybe encouraged it?
No, for sure. So I have an older brother, and then I have two older brothers and then a younger brother. So he kind of it's funny, if we was ever like we were messing, like we didn't have our manners and stuff like that, or we were impolite, he's always like, hey, have your manners. But whenever we were fighting over hockey, it was kind of like, he just kind of let us do it and sell it ourselves, because he wanted us to be competitive in that nature. But anything else, he was very strict on and made sure that we always were correct and always were right in every other sense. But then when it came to sports, he kind of wanted us to battle and just kind of share that understand that, hey, it's important to be competitive. It's important to win. It's important to have that mindset that, hey, we're going to go out there, we're going to battle and stick to our guns.
So you obviously were born in Canada, but moved to California at an early age. Did you play any other sports? And California doesn't have hockey 12 months out of the year and all of it. So any other sports that help you become the athlete and the goalie that you are now?
No, for sure. Actually, I played a lot more other sports when I was actually in Canada. I played a lot of soccer. I played a lot of lacrosse when I was growing up. But then when I moved to States, actually, we played a lot of hockey. We played hockey pretty much every single day here. It was a lot. I mean, it was actually surprising. Like in Canada, ice kind of got away, and then I was just kind of like, okay, let's go play soccer, let's go play lacrosse. As soon as I got here, it was kind of like, no, hockey's every single day, and all my friends did every single day. So that's just kind of what we did. We just played hockey. I mean, obviously we played baseball in the backyard. We played football in the back. Every single day we were doing a different activity, whether it's, another one we also did a lot was I played a lot of roller hockey in the summers in California. A lot of roller hockey, which I really enjoyed playing roller hockey. I was actually a roller hockey goalie, which is way tougher than being an ice hockey goalie, because you cannot slide and you cannot move around. That was always a lot of fun. I really enjoyed those days because you play. I remember going to roller hockey tournaments as a kid. You'd play like 8 games in one day, and you never take off your gear. It's just like one after another after another. It was a lot of fun.
Amazing. I was going to go. I assumed that roller hockey would have been a big thing. Did you always play goal in roller hockey too?
I did, yes. I usually played, well, whenever I played in like a team competitive league, I always played goalie. But whenever I played with my friends, I played out a lot. I played a lot out. But even when I was playing out, for some reason, I always wanted to block shots. It was kind of who I was. It was just in my mentality. Even though I was a kid growing up, we were playing in the gym. I used to wear like a Scott Stevens jersey and block every single shot. My brother said, he's not a hockey player, he's a goalie for sure. This guy's going to be a goalie for sure. No doubt about it in my mind.
That's awesome. Yeah, you kind of go back to your roots or your instincts, and that's probably why you're pretty good at what you do. Now, I want to ask you about your journey to now being here with the Buffalo Sabres. Year after year, having to go to camp with the Winnipeg Jets and then being told, just take your gear down the hallway to the Manitoba Moose locker room because that's where you're going to go. How did that fuel you? And how was that disappointment every single training camp, like for 5 or 6 years? Like that had to be tough.
No, for sure. It's always tough. But it's funny you say, because it's always tough being told you're not ready. But I don't know if I was. And I think it took me more time to develop and understand. I think I always thought to myself, hey, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to play. But then after a while, I said, hey, you know what? Maybe I need more time to develop. Maybe I need more time to get ready. Maybe I need more of this stuff to understand that I'm not quite there yet. And I think they did a really good job of telling me, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Go down there, get a lot of reps and play a lot of games and come up. And I think as time went on, you started wanting it more and more and more, but you started learning more and more about yourself and learning more about the process, learning about how to become a pro. And I think that was important for myself. And it kind of made the journey in the end all worth it. And that was just the most fun for me, just understanding, hey, it's all worth the journey now. And you just keep working on it, I understood that it's going to take a lot of time.
How did it actually go down, the signing? Can you recall now vividly how quickly it progressed when free agency arrived?
It was pretty quick. It went pretty quick. I remember it just July 13th, he's getting a phone call from my agent saying, hey, Buffalo's really interested. And I just remember hearing such great things from a lot of people and just about how good of a group they were, how much they're really building towards the future, and just how many good players they have. I know up close a little bit. My brother played with him actually in the island. Yeah. I know him from a couple camps I've done with him this summer. I know that I know Jeff Skinner, same thing. I know Vinny Anastroza a little bit, and they all told me how good of an organization this was, how good the head coach was, how much they've come together and grown as a group and really want to be there, want to be Buffalo Sabres. And that was really important to myself, just understanding how great this team was. And just, I was so thankful they were happy to reach out to me. And I was just so happy to accept that offer, because I couldn't have asked for a better team and a better spot to hopefully take my game to the next level.
Leading up to July 13th, did you have an indication reading the papers or this show? Because I had you first on my list of free agent goaltenders to go after. I was like, Eric Comrie, he's the guy. So, I mean, I don't know if you tuned into our show, but did you have any idea? Did you talk to your then fiance and saying, look, I think maybe Buffalo is going to be a spot? You're still talking to Winnipeg at the time, but you got to be kind of listening to what the rumor mill was saying, right?
No, for sure. You're always kind of listening a little bit, but she knows, it's actually funny. She knows a lot more about that stuff than I do. I'm kind of, so when you're in a Canadian market, you probably know this, you get off social media pretty fast. And so I've learned to distance myself from social media, not listen to it all. So like, especially being around like Winnipeg and all that stuff, Canadian market, like kind of like, well, you don't know what's true and what's not, because there's so much stuff being said and so much stuff out there. Like, okay, I'm just going to distance myself, because if you have a great game, everyone's like, oh, you're the best goalie in the world. If you have a bad game, everyone's like, oh, you're the worst goalie in the world. So I've kind of learned to say, hey, just go out there and be myself, and distance myself from it, and then Haley always tells me the good stuff. So she always tells me, oh, Buffalo's interested. I'm like, that's awesome. Like I would love to go there. That's fantastic. She actually saw that. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. I'd love to be part of that spot. And I was like, I really hope they call July 13th. Once again, you don't know what's going to happen, because July 13th, everything happens so fast. It's really crazy how quickly everything happens and how fast the signings go down. Or
it takes 22 days, like the time I signed with the New York Islanders. I thought it was going to happen on July 1st, and 22 days later, I still didn't have a spot. So good for you that it happened quickly on that day.
No, I was really happy, because I was talking to my agent saying, I don't know if it's going to happen or when it's going to happen. He's like, don't worry. And I was just reassured by him, and he's an excellent agent. And I'm just really happy to be a part of his group. And I knew that going forward, I'm really excited to be part of Buffalo.
Sabres goalie Eric Comrie is with us here on Sabres Live on WGR Sports Radio 550 and MSG. Brian Duffer and Marty Baron with you on this Friday. Eric, would you say that you're like a NHL trivia guy? Like, do you, like, from loving the game from an early age, like, do you know a lot about everything?
Let's put it this way. So in Florida, when you go play the Florida Panthers, they always have this trivia thing. And you go down there, and if you win, you win a putter. And I'm kind of a big golfer as well. So of course I walked away with a putter, and not was I won the trivia thing for the Jets, and the Jets immediate everything. And for me, I wasn't so excited about winning the putter for my golf game. It was the trophy. So I carried that putter around the whole trip in front of everybody, up and down the plane, up and down everywhere, just saying, hey, yeah, I was the one who won trivia here. So yeah, I'm not bad. I'm pretty good.
Okay, so
I'm not like the best. I'm pretty good.
Okay, well, so this is kind of obscure, but of course it works completely with our audience, which is Sabres centric. Could you name 5 former Sabres players or prospects that you have played with over the last number of years?
Former?
Yeah.
So not currently on the team.
Currently not on the roster. Correct.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
Trust me, it was tough for me to dig up the names too.
Oh man, I don't know if that's really trivia though. That's more of like a
right. Yeah,
that's more of a history check. I've been on a lot of teams, by the way. Now,
just remember, Winnipeg and Buffalo once consummated a pretty big deal. So
well,
that could be.
Are you counting Brendan Lemieux or no?
Brendan Lemieux is one.
You counting Tyler Myers?
Tyler Myers is there too.
Yeah.
Now
would you count Evander Kane?
Did you play with him? I didn't see if you did.
I never really played with him, but I guess never really. I was in training camp with him, so no, I wouldn't.
Okay,
count
I'll give you that one. It was on my radar too. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a Montreal Canadian that was a former Jet that you used to.
Joel Armia?
Yep.
Yep. And then you'd probably.
There was a guy in Tucson.
I know.
And believe it or not, he still has.
It was the Tucson. I know who it is. It's Hudson Fashion.
He has one NHL goal.
Hudson
and
Fashion,
it came against Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. That's a great pull. Also on the list, Alex Biega, Seth Griffith.
Yeah, I should have got that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will Butcher, Dmitry Kulikov, Aaron Dell, Nathan Beaulieu.
How did I not get Nathan Beaulieu, by the way?
Well,
And-
he'll be mad about that because I think
Yeah.
he prides himself as kind of an everyman's guy, right? Like he loves to be.
And Kulikov too. That's really easy to get. I should have got. I remember Kulikov a lot in Florida Panthers days. That's where I remember him so much.
Marty, I love this guy. His willingness to engage in on the fly trivia is amazing. First,
that's why I'm
a
staying
ridiculous
quiet
hockey nerd,
because
Eric. So this is great.
I was going to stay quiet because when it comes to trivia, sometimes I could be really good or sometimes I could be really, really bad. And it becomes dead air on radio, which is not something we want. But okay, so you talked about Ryan Miller before and you're coming to Buffalo. Obviously, you know, the big name here in Buffalo when it came to goaltending was Dominik Hasek. What do you remember like growing up and hearing about the Dominator or even seeing some highlights of his times with Buffalo?
So my first NHL agent was Rich Winter, and he obviously had Dominik Hasek as the client. And I remember telling him stories of Dominik Hasek in practice, how we would do headshot practices. And I don't know if this is true or not. Can you confirm this or no?
Guys were not intimidated by shooting high. You know, like some goalies, if you went above their waist, they would lose their mind. Like with Dom, he would say shoot high, and he would actually hit it with his head. Like it wasn't headshot practice, but it was not discouraged either.
But I also heard that his work ethic was just off the charts and how he never let guys score in practice and you get angry about that. And that is honestly one of the biggest things I took to myself. Like, wow, if this guy does it, then I'm going to try and hopefully, why wouldn't I do this? He's one of the best. I mean, I think he's a top 3 goalie of all time, maybe number 1. I mean, you look at statistically wise, he's like up there ahead of anybody. And I think that's so impressive for myself. I think you can't model your game after him, of course, because he played a very interesting style, but I think you can take little bits and pieces of like his work ethic. His positioning was actually way better than a lot of people give him credit for. And his reading of the game was unbelievable. And I think for myself, I really try and take that work ethic and that positioning and try to understand it and try and see how you can kind of mold it into your own game. But myself, I know Dom's the big guy, but Miller, myself, I got to spend a lot of time with Ryan Miller. He always came to California in the summers here and skated in LA. And actually I grew up kind of skating with him and he almost became like a little mentor of mine. I would kind of say he kind of showed me the ropes and like showed me around. Even I was like 12, 13, 14 years old, I got to skate with him and he just showed me all these different little things. And he knew about the game is still so impressive to me and how he read the game and how he played the game because he saw it differently than I saw it. And how we kind of shared ideas and stuff like that, it really helped me a lot. And I was really, really so encouraged by how willing and open he was to share ideas and listen, like talk to me and be really open with me.
Kind of sounds like the Ryan Miller we know.
And this season is going to be a very special season, obviously, with Millsy's number being retired and his induction into the Sabres Hall of Fame. So he is a student of the game. But I hear you talk, and you are obviously very smart about the position of goaltenders. And you talk about Hasek and his positioning and his reads and Miller, the way he played the game with the flow. You're technical. I watched tapes on you the last few days here because I wanted to really understand your game. I have a vision of your game, but if a fan is listening to the show right now and they say, what's Eric Comrie's game? Like, how do you describe yourself as a goaltender?
It's funny because I think it's different than what other people. I consider myself. I'm actually a very positional goalie. Like I'm trying to get very positional and play a lot of percentages and understand like, hey, this is where I have to be at certain places and certain times. And I've always looked at the game as if you're in position, you're gonna stop the puck a very high majority of the game. Like a lot of people look at save execution, understand like, hey, save execution is where it's all at. You got to worry about where you're making saves stuff like that. But really, the game of hockey is. You're only making saves about 2% of the game. The rest of the whole time, you're skating, you're getting into position. I think if you can control getting into position and you're skating, I think that's the most important thing you can do as a goalie. And that's kind of what I model my whole game around is skating and just hitting my marks, making sure I'm always square, always set, and always in the perfect position, and just letting the game come to me. I think when I was younger, I got caught up into like trying to chase the game and make all these saves instead of just, hey, get into position, let the game take care of itself, let it play out. And that's what I really based my whole thing around is just getting into position, skating well, and then letting the rest take care of itself.
Would you say the on-ice focus came first and now you've added the layers of off-ice stuff that can help all that on-ice stuff? Is that
No,
is
for
that
sure.
is that fair? Yeah.
100%. I think like on ice, you always play so much hockey, but then you understand the off ice stuff, the mental game, the understanding of this the working out and stuff like that. Like really, the mental game is the big one because I think on ice you can always play. And everyone knows, hey, I played your whole life. You know how to do it. You know how to play. But then it's understanding like, hey, okay, but you're going to play this team and this team does different things. You're kind of like almost going through your mind and breaking it down. Okay, this is how I got to play this game. This is how you got to do this. This is how I understand this. This is the positions you got to be in. And I think for myself, that's what I try and understand and try and think about before every game is I set my game plan. I just try and stick to it the best I can. And don't let other things kind of dictate it, but you kind of go through a game plan. You understand what you have to do for that game to be successful and you stick to that as much as you can. I think before you kind of just go into a game and just hope to play well because you have the talent. But now if I go there now having my game plan, sticking to understand I'm going to hit my marks, skate well, and just be myself and just play that game, then it's going to be successful most of the time. I can go to bed knowing that I've done my job and done the part that I can.
Eric, I dislike the idea that goalies are weird, but there's a few of them out there that really stand about the weirder stuff of players and out there. I think of like Braden Holtby and his pregame focus, like his routine is just like completely crazy. Ryan Miller would do the same thing with the stick and visualize. Like, do you consider yourself a pretty normal goalie? And is there an extensive pregame routine that we should be getting to understand and know about you?
I probably used to be a lot weirder than I am today. I think being around like different, like
Helly in Winnipeg is pretty weird. So
yes, he is. He got some weird things he does, but he's actually really calm before games.
Yes.
And during games, I've never seen a guy more calm and relaxed. He's actually the team DJ as well. If you wouldn't understand this, a goalie team DJ is kind of weird to do. It doesn't happen very often. Like he's the one running the music. He's the one always joking around the room. He's the guy kind of talking in Winnipeg a lot. And he's kind of the leader. Like he's a big leader in that group. He understands. Like even coming to the bench to me, he'd come to like, he would break down goals with me when I'm talking to him during the game. And he'd be like in between like intermission, like TV times out. He'd come to the bench and say, hey, what'd you think about this play? What happened in that goal there? What'd you see there? And we kind of break it down during the game, which I never have done before in my life. Because I'm like, hey, forget about the goal. We'll work about that later. But he's literally breaking it down in his head during the game, which is, I find a little bit strange to me, but that's how calm he is and relaxed. For myself, I got a pretty good routine that I follow that I try and stick to, because I like to think to myself, I have a checklist, and if I run through that checklist and accomplish those things, it's going to set me up for the best I can be. So I kind of get to the rink at a certain time, make sure that I get care of my nutrition, my hand-eye stuff, my warm-up, my visualization checklist, and kind of make sure that if I've gone through that stuff, I've prepared myself the best I can. I've controlled my controllables, and I can go out there and play my game.
All right. If you allow yourself a cheat day when it comes to the diet, where are you going and what are you eating?
Cheat day. Oh man. I mean, I like to eat a lot. I mean, I'm a big food guy. I'm a big foodie. Well, I mean, buffalo wings are great. You got to say buffalo wing. I can't not say that. Those are fantastic. I mean, being from California, In-N-Out Burger, you got to say In-N-Out Burger. That's nice. Classic. Oh man, there's a lot of good spots. Chick-fil-A is also fantastic. I love Chick-fil-A. But
my daughters will appreciate that. They love it.
Let me ask you this about the wings, though. I mean, we do a this or that here, basically an either or. But you know, all the French guys around the league, they always say you do this and you do that. And so Jeff O'Neill kind of branded me with the this or that. So it's a big debate here in Buffalo when it comes to chicken wings. Ranch or blue cheese, and you better pick the right one. And I'm just giving you a fair warning here. So this or that, ranch or blue cheese with your chicken wings.
I don't know. I kind of go. I'm bad. I kind of go back and forth a little bit. I like to mix. I'm a bit of a mixer up kind of guy. Okay. I do like to mix it up, but I like blue cheese a lot too.
That's the right one. That's the right one right there. It has to be blue cheese.
Like blue cheese. I kind of like blue cheese. And you know what? I used to not, when I was a kid, I used to not like blue cheese. I used to be a big ranch guy. As I got older, I think I developed the taste for blue cheese, and I like it a little bit more.
As the Canadian in you, like putting ranch on everything, chicken, pasta, everything.
Well, yes, ketchup and everything. Yeah.
That's awesome. Eric, thank you for the time. We really look forward to seeing you in the fall, and we're only a couple of months away from training camp. So enjoy the rest of the summer and the honeymoon, and we'll definitely see you soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I wish I had a little bit more light in here. I'm trying to get I'm lighting my house on. Okay. I'm trying my best. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
We'll emerge from the shadows in the fall. It'll be great.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Thank you so much. Thank you.